This is still under Program 3, Global Brand Affinity Initiatives. This here, we have a target of 101 distribution channel initiatives implemented in the markets. We also have under Global Trade Program, we will put in a global trade plan that must be implemented in this financial year. And then the Global Advocacy Program must be implemented in this financial year in terms of the annual target. And then under 1.7 there, the Tourism Economic Impact Communication. This is about quarterly tourism economic impact communication activities that we are going to be focusing on, making sure that every quarter we release those results and we release the economic impact of tourism to South Africans. So in each of the other campaigns, I'm not going to go into the details. It is the implementation of the distribution channel initiatives throughout the quarters. It is the implementation of the quarter 1 milestones of the group, and quarter 2, quarter 3, and quarter 4 in that regard, as well as the same approach will apply for the global advocacy campaign, and as we identify what issues we want to target in each of the quarters. Next slide, please. Program 4, still under core business. The Program 4 is the work being done by the National Convention Bureau. They also have their own B2B brand campaign. The target there is to have one domestic B2B campaign implemented and one B2B global campaign implemented. In quarter 1, they will approve the domestic B2B campaign plan. Quarter 2, implement the quarter 2 milestones, and implement for quarter 3, and implement as well for quarter 4. In terms of the global, similar approach, after developing the plan, then they start implementing those various areas of the campaign in each of the quarters. In the business events bidding platform, so this is where they bid for these mega meetings. So they have here the annual targets of 93 bid submissions that must go in this financial year, and they split that into various areas, various numbers in each of the quarters. So there's 33 in quarter 1, 30 in quarter 2, 15 in quarter 3, and 15 submissions in quarter 4. The number of business events hosted in villages, townships, and small dorpies is also been set out as a target. In quarter 1, they have one event hosted in a VTSD. In quarter 2, they have 2. In quarter 3, they have 1. In quarter 4, they have 1. In terms of the number of business events bidding impact reports, the target is to have 4 in this financial year, and they've split this. There will be 1 impact report in quarter 1. There will be 2 in. There will be another one in quarter 2, quarter 3, as well as in quarter 4. So that is the Program 4. Next slide, please.
Can I ask you to jump to financial information?
The last bit of what we are doing in the National Conventions Bureau, the Program 4, is what we call the strategic platforms. I did indicate earlier that we have identified 7 platforms as South African tourism. So these platforms in this financial year, they will make sure that in the APP, the hosting of Africa's Travel Indaba 2023, reimagined. They will also host the Meetings Africa in next year, 2024, in February. And then they will also focus on 6 international strategic platforms that they participate in. For Travel Indaba, it's hosted in quarter 1, so it will be in May this year. And then after that, quarter 2, we do a post-show economic impact study briefing. We then do planning for Africa's Travel Indaba for 2024, and then we also we continue the planning for 2024 in quarter 4. Meetings Africa, it is hosted in February each year. So right now they are busy with the post-show economic impact study briefing. They are planning for Q2. They start planning for Meetings Africa 2024, as well as coming up with a communication strategy.
Nomasondo.
Q3, it's planning for Meetings Africa 2024.
Nomasondo.
And then in Q4, we then host the
Can somebody next to
Meetings
Nomasondo
Africa, platform. In terms of the other international platforms,
talk to him?
it will be 6 international platforms, and we have these in different of the quarters. So they will plan for 2 in Q1. They will plan for IMEX in Q2, IMEX and IBTM, as well as WTM, and they participate at 3 in Q3, and then they will also plan and participate at 1 for Q4. Next slide, please.
Can anyone call anybody who is with Nomasondo in the department and tell them that we are saying they must move to the
Can
budget?
I just whiz through the grading council? It will be 2
We'll
minutes.
do
and then
so,
we'll go
DM.
into-
Thank you,
Okay.
Chair.
And the CFO take us through the finances.
Thank you, Chair. I will please do that precisely as requested. So the first part is where do we get our money? In fact, the majority of our funds we get from the Department of Tourism through the transfers, as the CFO on the other side had mentioned. This makes around 91% of our budget. The next line item where we get our money as well is from the TOMSA voluntarily levies at TVCSA. And then we make some money as well from the platforms that we own. You know, the Meetings Africa that was mentioned, and Indaba. So we make some exhibition income through that as well. You can see, you know, we are still struggling pre-COVID. This was in the hundreds of thousands, and now we are lower. In fact, all the figures are sort of struggling since COVID. The other source of income is grading fees. So there are fees that we charge for grading establishments, and then we have sundry income. So that's miscellaneous income where we are basically, you know, effectively managing our working capital and making sure that we don't keep too much money in current accounts unnecessarily, and then claiming VAT in countries where we are allowed to claim VAT, that type of thing. And it sort of gives us that miscellaneous account income. And then so the total for the year that we are planning for, or the year that we are already in, is 1.47 billion. If you move to the next slide, this is now all the projects that Nomasondo was taking us through. And so for the year under review, corporate support will receive 161 million. That's where all the support people are, or ICT, or your finance and supply chain, internal audit, and so on. And then program 2, if you recall, Chair, is where there's that brand management and so on. So these are the supporters of the main business. Basically, we support the guys that drive demand. So as alluded by Sonto, the core program, which is program 3, it takes just a little over 1 billion, and this covers all the leisure marketing part of things, including costs to run offices across the world. So everything is included in here. And then again, another demand driver, but from a business side, in program 3 is we have 96 million there. And lastly, the grading council, we've got 53 million. That's the quality assurance guys and visitor experience. That's where they generate some money. So there's sort of an offset here that happens a little bit because they generate some money through those grading fees. If I may move on to the next slide. All right. So this is a breakdown of the budget by economic classification. 246 million of our budget is spent on cost of employees. This includes everybody, even employees that are hired in overseas offices. This is absolutely all SA Tourism employees. Our capital expenditure expectations for the current year is just a little over 17 million. That is spent quite a lot in the digital space as we intend to sort of lead with digital transformation. Now, the rest is other goods and services, but what I've done here is to try and show you what makes those other goods and services. So you'll see, Chair, that 490 million will be spent on media. And then 69 million will be spent on production. So whatever content is produced, that's going to be placed on those media platforms, comes out of here. All the banners and all the things that I forget the names, what to call them, all the tools that we use are coming from this budget of production. Then there's activations. So something like a Indaba or a Meetings Africa, we call a activation. And then that there we're spending around 242 million. And then there's hosting. Hosting, this is where we are now bringing, let's say, international media into our country and take them on hostings so that they come back into their countries and write about their journey in South Africa and so on. The buyers that we hosted in Indaba as well are also form part of this line item. And then capabilities management fees in situations where we not able to do the work ourselves. For example, let's say there'll be a company managing managing Indaba, and whatever fee they charge us for that will go into this line item. So and then for research, we expect to spend around 36 million. The rest of the goods and services really is things like our operating costs, buying computers, diesel, and so on. That I can't really break down here. But these are the major drivers that I thought I should share with the committee. And I think this is the last slide. Yes, it is. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, CFO. I would like to apologize to members. There are members who have quite a number of members who have log off because they have a time constraints. I think in terms of the schedule for the meeting, it was meant to finish at 5. We started at 10, had a break for lunch, and then reconvene at 2:30. Some members have a time constraint that they had to log out. There are very few members that are remaining. But we'll use this time for members who have questions. I'm not going to restrict you. You can ask a question on any of the programs of the department and also on any of the programs of SAT at the same time. Yeah. Are there any hands?
Chairperson, I can't raise my hand.
Okay, you can continue.
Thank you. Chairperson, I noticed on the slide that there is an emphasis on Asia and Europe and America, but the big spenders are the Middle East, and there seems to be no emphasis on that. If we can look at that. And are people trained within the missions to deal with tourism, and is it part of their KRAs? Have they engaged with DIRCO to ensure that one or other officer is identified where they don't have a tourism officer to ensure that they promote tourism in that particular area? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Are there any other questions from any members? It looks like not.
Honorable Mshodi, Chair.
Oh, okay. Over to you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson. Good morning, everybody on the platform. Let me also start to welcome the presentation, Honorable Chairperson, from the department. And my question, Honorable Chairperson, is on program number 3. The presenter present that they have created 4,133 job opportunity. I just want to check, Chairperson, did they consider the issue of gender parity? Did they involved the women, youth, and people with disability? The other question, Honorable Chairperson, in program number 4, they train 50 chefs in Gauteng, which is now permanent in job. And I also want to check again, in 50 chefs that they were trained, did also consider the issue of gender parity, even if Chairperson, one will appreciate to give young people job, as we know that we have a high rate of unemployment of youth, but also cannot forget the issue of gender parity when we deploy these people or train them to job opportunities. In slide 48, Honorable Chairperson, also the presenter mentioned about 12 programs that is going to go to different provinces, but he didn't mention the Free State. I just want to check maybe why Free State was not involved on this program that is going to go to other provinces. In slide number 43, again, Honorable Chairperson, there's a program that the presenter said they're going to implement in the Free State, and they're going to focus on the small towns in the Free State. One would love to know which town, Honorable Chairperson, that maybe the department is going to focus more, especially the small town. Why I'm asking this question, Honorable Chairperson, because I'm coming from the small town in the Free State called Edenville. I don't think even the people knows about this area because it's in deep rural area, Honorable Chairperson. So for now, Honorable Chairperson, I think is the question that I have. But all the slide in program number 4 in generally, my question is that all the job opportunity that was created, did they consider the issue of gender parity, including the people with disability, as much as we focus also in the youth? Thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson. For now, that is my question.
Thank you very much. I think other members have gone. Perhaps from me, let me first thank the presenters. They were very good, including the SAT. It's a pity that we don't have enough time, but maybe we have learned now that in our next meeting, we should separate the SAT from the department. So each the department has its own day, and the SAT also has its own day. It was too much for this 2 hours that was allocated for both the department and the SAT. I just want to go back to the issue of the key strategic outcomes, Honorable DG, that you took us through, outcomes and focus. I think in the past, you used to be detailed with regard to, for example, the increase, the tourism sector's contribution to inclusive economic growth. In the past, we used to break it down, have specific targets, also with the baseline of a previous financial year or MTF period. And also there will be target on the international tourist arrival. There will be a percentage increase in terms of domestic holiday trips, a percentage in terms of capital investment in tourism, a percentage increase in tourism direct contribution to employment. We used to have percentages with regard to that, as well as a percentage of the contribution of tourism to the GDP. But I see that is no longer now in the APPs of the department, as well as maintaining and improving the ratings in the competitive index. We don't have that indicated in the report. I must also say I'm impressed with the program one. I'm saying not impressed because it's a common program in all other departments. We normally use that part when we pose questions to other departments, because it's got a lot of information. The other departments, they leave out some of the issues that the department is reporting on in terms of its APPs. But what I wanted to highlight, maybe that when you could add, is the issue of the financial disclosures under the administration department. I know in the report that the DG was giving out in terms of risks, she talks about the financial and the vetting of those that of all employees and that deal with the supply chain management. But it would be nice if we could have a specific target with regard to, I mean, if you can take that as part of a performance management under administration, which also include the financial disclosures and the lifestyle audits. I think everything else, I think I'm fine under that particular program. I'm not sure. There's also the DG talks about partnering with the relevant departments in some of taking forward some of the issues that deal with the tourism sector. It was not specific in terms of which are those relevant departments, but I wanted to just check, because another department that we oversight is the Department of Small Business Development. They have quite a lot of programs around the SMME incentive support programs. I don't know if that department has been approached, or is it one of the relevant departments that you're referring to? For instance, some of their program around the SME focus localization, the Township and Rural Entrepreneurship Program, which they call it TREP, the Young Entrepreneurs Support Program. Others may not necessarily be relevant. The one on cooperative support, the Shared Economic Infrastructure Facility, as well as the lot of other programs that they deal with. So I was wondering if there is any collaboration between Department of Tourism with those kinds of programs within the Department of Small Business Development. On the destination development, the issue that Honorable Moshoidi referred to, the program on working for tourism. She highlighted the categories that she would like information on. but I would add out of the, I don't know whether it's 4,133. I don't know if I took the number correctly. Whether the provincial spread would, in addition to the issues of gender, young people, and so on, if you can also break it down for us in terms of the provinces, how are the provinces accommodated with regard to the allocations of such. Yeah, so those are the questions. Otherwise, we are happy with the report. We will then be monitoring its implementation. We look also forward to some of the programs that will be coming, especially with SAT. Once attended the Lilizela Awards, I agree with you. It is an Oscar of the country. We're looking forward to attend to it, though there's no specific date that is indicated in the presentation. Thank you very much. Back to you, DG.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson. I'm going to request DDG Sitwaba to come in and speak to largely the issues that were raised by Honorable Mhlot, and then go to DDG Chetia to speak to the issues of the demographic job creation and so on. And then I'll come back and speak to some of the issues that the chairperson raised in the concluding question. Thank you, Honorable Chairperson. Asma Donki.
Thank you, DG, and thank you very much, honorable members, for the questions. In terms of the implementation of the skills program, we are implementing the skills programs through the vehicle of the EPWP. Now, the payment of stipends is set in terms of the directives EPWP, and it's similar for all the genders that we are absorbing into our programs. The stipend that we are paying for our men and women are the same. In terms of the observation is that most of our skills programs are absorbed, especially in the skills part of it, are absorbed by ladies. We have a higher number skewed towards ladies. You'll find that there's more in terms of the chef's program and food and bev. Mostly is ladies. So on the issue of parity, we are doing well there. The 50 chefs, these are those that are not yet, those that have not as yet have been qualified, but have been in the trade for some time now. Mainly they are adult chefs employed, but then we just upgrade them in terms of taking them through the recognition of prior learning. We saw quite a huge intake in Limpopo for the 30 chefs that we did previously, and we are looking forward to implementation of the 50 chefs through the RPL. We are expecting that a greater intake will also focus towards women. But there are a little bit of challenges in that these are people that are employed, and you find that they have to take some time off from work to be able to attend classes after work, practicals at work, and also be able to write exams. And that is why we were so excited that all 30 of the previous candidates successfully completed this RPL process. It is really an intense program, but excitement is that even our women candidates were able to complete. Honorable Moshodi, we will be implementing the service excellence at Denisville in Free State. That is the town that we are looking at. Of course, we do have conversations with the provincial department in terms of partnering with them, and also making sure that stakeholders around the town that we have selected are prepared to participate. On the question of collaborations with other government entities, especially the Department of Small Business, we do in our incubation for the food service, where we have about 100 incubatees. We are implementing it through CEDA, an entity of a small business. We are gravitating more towards ensuring that those that are within our space, tourism space, have got a clear link with some of the incentives or the grants or the, especially the financial support that is provided for by the Department of Small Business. We do assist them, Honorable Chair, our tourism enterprises in our incubation, where there are opportunities for them to apply for financial support that is existing within other government departments. We do assist them to comply with the requirements. The technology incubator, we are implementing it with a TIA, which is an entity of the Department of Science and Innovation. They are our implementing agent there. So there is quite some collaboration that we are doing together with other government departments. Thank you, DG. I think I've answered the question. Okay, there was a question on the programs, skills programs that will be taken to Free State. Currently, we are implementing a hospitality youth program within Free State. I suspect we're covering about 300. I will just have to make sure my figures in the Free State through the EPWP. But for Free State, there is a 12-month learnership program that we are going to be implementing in this financial year. This is on the food and beverage training program. We are going to be engaging 100 learners for the program as soon as the service provider is appointed, or it is appointed. We are looking at Mangaung, Dihlabeng, Ngwati, and Masilonyane, and Kopano. We will strive to get about 25 from the 3 municipalities and from the 4 municipalities to make sure that we achieve 100 learners from Free State. That will be the new program that we will be implementing for this financial year. Thank you, DG and Honorable Chairperson.
Thank you. DDG Chetia.
Thank you very much, DG and Honorable Chair and Honorable members. Honorable Chair, I think to the question that was about the 4,133 work opportunities, DDG Satwaba has already spoken about the skills development. So there's definitely a footprint because that is provincial. If in both our skills development work as well as our infrastructure work. So by way of example, the Sandparks program, which we have just completed, the maintenance program, there were 953 people employed in total. Of that, 345 were women, 519 were youth, and 30 were people with disabilities. As DDG Setwaba has indicated in the skills program, you also tend to have more women employed in the skills programs than men. So it depends on the nature of the programs that we implement, but we have a definite bias towards women, youth, and people with disabilities. And in the planning for the work that we do, both from an infrastructure perspective as well as from a skills perspective, there is a deliberate planning for there to be a spread across the provinces. So another example, for example, would be the skills program where we have tourism monitors. And the target in the phase 3 implementation for the Free State and the Northwest is 100 people each. In the Northern Cape, it's 70. In the Eastern Cape, it's also 100. Gauteng and Mpumalanga is 200, KZN 170, and then the Western Cape 230. And the reason that those numbers are the way they are is, of course, then linked to the number of tourism attractions in that province. So I think to answer your question, it is possible, Chair, to present the figures and breakdown per province once the projects have been implemented. But in a planning stage, as I've indicated in both skills and infrastructure, there's deliberate planning. And because our projects have a provincial footprint, the numbers are both planned for and targeted women, youth, and people with disabilities. DG, I am going to stop there. Thank you.
Thank you very much, DDG. Thank you, Honorable Chairperson. We do have, and I will ask Nomasonto to speak to this. We do have the targets for the coming financial year with regards to the number of tourists, with regards to the spend, with regards to the domestic tourism trips and all those things. They are contained in the SA Tourism APP. What also would not have been included here, and which I would like to assume that is what the Honorable Chairperson is making a reference to, is that we would previously bring out the targets as contained in the strategic plan. That would then include the GDP up to the end of the term. That would also include the jobs up to the end of the term. That would also include all those specific ones. But they are still contained in the strat plan. There hasn't been a change to the strat plan in terms of what our targets to the end of the term would be. And I think that is information that on hindsight, we probably should have also included, so that it is evident that we are still indeed focusing on those things. But let me also ask Nomasonto to come in so that she can then just highlight those quite briefly, please, Nomasonto. Thanks.
I hope she can hear us now.
Yes, I can hear you. Thank you, DG. Can you hear me on that side?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, thank you so much. Yes, DG, as you've said, in fact, because I could not complete my slides towards the end where we've put in the 5-year strategic plan and the amendments, actually we do talk about those very same targets in terms of the increase, the tourism sector's contribution to inclusive economic growth. So it is there. And it is in our APP. So they are there. Maybe just we do not cover them in detail today, but I think it's a learning. We'll do that going forward. But they are contained in the APP and in the 5-year strat plan. In fact, in this presentation, we actually highlight where there's been some shifts and changes purely because affected by the impact of the pandemic. So we made the change, we adjusted them slightly downwards to actually accommodate the impact of the pandemic. So those are there. I also wanted to maybe speak to the question that was asked, DG, on the focus on Asia and America, and maybe not so much on the Middle East. And I wanted to highlight what we had spoken about on page 8, where we speak about what we call the watch list markets. So the Middle East in particular is actually in our watch list market. We do a lot of work, but when the research was done, this market prioritization investment framework, when it was done, these markets did not pop up as big markets, but we do work in the UAE. One of the strategic platforms that has been identified is called the ATM, Arabian Travel Market. Is actually happening just before Indaba. It's happening in Dubai. We have been participating. It's one of our key platforms, and we do take with us the SMME, so it doesn't get left out. But we are doing work. We're supporting it as part of the watch list market, managed by an office that is called the Embassy Liaison Office and Business Development for South African Tourism. I wanted to just cover that. DG, thank you so much.
Thank you, Honorable Chairperson. That will be all from our side.
Thank you very much, DG. Thank you very much also to the DGs and SAT and the CFOs. I think at this stage we'll now hand over to the DM. If maybe there's any information that they would like to share, but also make closing remarks. Over to you, Honorable DM.
No, thanks very much, Chair, and greetings to members, the DG, the acting CEO, all the DDGs and executive members. We've dealt, I'm sure the officials have dealt with all the issues very substantially, Chair, except to emphasize the matter that Honorable Dang was raising, that as we gradually try to identify markets, we are moving as if you could see that you are targeting the UAE as part of the watch list. I think what we need to do is to say, how do we go beyond watching that list and gradually include it into one of the growth list markets that we must target, so that we're able to expand our scope, because we're not yet there, as you know. We're still chasing the target that was set by the president of 21 million arrival. That target has not been revisited, though the industry has revised it to 15 million. But the strategies that while working towards 15 million, but we want to achieve the goal of that has been set in 2019. As you know, we're still very far from that as a result of the COVID-19 impact that has created a havoc into the sector. But we're gradually going there. As you could see, in terms of the tourism sector strategy, we said the pillar should be the domestic market. You'll see that domestic tourism has quickly surpassed the 2019 stats, which indicates that we are moving towards the right direction. We'll have to then intensify our work into the international market. The good thing about the issue is that we have almost the majority of if not all, I only was about 2 of the watch list of the 24 markets that we were prioritizing, almost all of them are exempted from the visa regime system. That makes it easy for us then to work through that. But also, even if we look at the watch list, the majority of the watch list, they are exempted from the visa regime, and therefore it's something that we must exploit, something that we need to explore how best do we utilize that at our advantage. The departments, some of the departments that the DG was referring to, it's Home Affairs. Engagement with Home Affairs, it is very critical. The minister has been engaging with them. That's why we've got an indication in the picture as to what are countries that are exempted from the visa regime. And those are the countries that we need to pay special priority and focus, because it will be, once we're able to attract people there, it's easy for them to come to South Africa. We are also working with the Department of Transport. As you know, there's this challenge of the the licensing for cars for tourism, which has been a big problem. And that's a matter that also we need to unbundle with the Department of Transport. So those are some departments. Well, the Department of Small Development, at a political level, we run some of the activations, some of the road shows, and also Izimbizo together to be able, therefore, to share to SMEs and to general public what are the programs that the Department of Small Business and Development is offering. As you know, the sizable number of small businesses are in the tourism space, and therefore working together with the Department of Small Business Development becomes very critical and central to do that, especially from the financial support side, because we provide other non-financial support. But when coming to the financial side, we are working closely with but that includes DTIC as well. So those are some of the departments that we are liaising with. We are moving gradually towards the recovery. There's still a lot of work to be done about it, but we're moving towards the direction. As you could see, the presentation indicates that the Europe and Americas are the ones that are fast recovering, followed by ourselves, the Africa and the Middle East. But as a country, we're not yet doing extraordinary well. We still have to push and have more efforts to be able to be in the same level as everybody else. On the programs of skills and the EPW program, mainly our skills are focusing on the youth, and in all the program, the graduation that I've attended, almost 80% are females. Dominantly, it's young girls that are mainly in that space. The RPL program, that is the chefs, is being determined by, because those are already chefs who have been working for years, but who doesn't have skills. I mean, or doesn't have certifications. So they get identified in various areas where they are working, so that they are then given that training, which then give them certifications, so that whatsoever that they do is then recognized. We've tried our level best to make sure that there is proportionality in terms of distributions throughout the province, so that there's no province that is left behind at the end. But as we do this recover, what is critical and important is that it must be inclusive, it must be transformative, it must benefit ordinary people, especially youth and women. So that's the approach that we are taking. We're working with the sector to make sure that we're pulling in the same direction, all of us. Otherwise, there's not much to elaborate. We want to thank the opportunity given to us to come and present to your good self on what we are going to do, or we've started doing on the budget that you are going to approve. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Honorable DM. We really appreciate the presentations by the Department of Tourism as well as SAT. We would also want to make a request, acting CEO of SAT. The presentation that you made, there are some slides that we don't have, particularly with regard to numbers in terms of international visits, as well as other numbers. We don't have those slides. If you can send perhaps the whole presentation to the committee secretary.
Maybe through you, Chair.
Yes.
Maybe we can request the department also to give you the detailed additional information that they were talking about, because it's not in the slide.
Yes.
That says in this province, this is what we're going to be doing, especially in the last two branches, that is 3 and 4, equally to what because it's information that we requested them to add this morning, to be specific in provinces. And that was, and then so it could not be provided to the committee because it was already. So it should be given as a supplementary additional information that needs to be made available. Thanks.
Thanks. We really appreciate that. If that could be made available to us, but also some of the figures, though we don't have them, especially from SAT. For us who come from rural provinces, they are really depressing. We look forward to programs such as Program 3 of the department in terms of the master plans, all those projects that Program 3 of the department was talking about, the infrastructure, maintenance and beautification. We have places that we know that have potential. I'm glad that the Program 3 is also focusing on Port St. John's. I mean, if in terms of comparison, Cape Town, if there could be focus on Port St. John's, if I compare Cape Town and Port St. John's, I mean, most international tourists would go there compared to Cape Town, but it's just that it's just a potential. That's what frustrates the mayor of that municipality. She now hates this term called potential, that Port St. John's has potential, because everybody says that, but nothing comes in to move it out of potential to reality. So we really look forward to that program 3, to assist our provinces to also at the same level as other provinces in terms of tourism visits, tourism spend, and all that. We're really looking forward. Yeah, no, thank you so much again. It's a pity that not all members are here. But as I indicated that in future we'll separate the department from SAT and then be focused. But also in meetings of MINMEC Deputy Minister, if you, especially with the travel in Daba, if you can also perhaps encourage in the MINMEC provinces to also take that program serious. Some of us were disappointed. We were moving around the stalls there with the officials from SAT and the department. Some of our provinces did not have any exhibitions there. There were a few municipalities. If municipalities could also be encouraged also together with provinces. I'm not sure what is the situation now in terms of preparation for this one that will be in May. But last year, I know my province, Eastern Cape, was not represented. There's only one rural municipality that I saw there. I think the same with the Northern Cape. Honorable Moimang was also disappointed that there were no municipality, including the province, that were, exhibiting anything in that travel in Daba. So maybe, I don't know if before that in Daba, there's going to be MINMEC meetings where provinces are also encouraged to take the travel in Daba very seriously. And because maybe that's why the figures in our provinces are lower compared to others, because we don't make use of those or take those opportunities of interacting with those who will be attending these kind of activities in the country. I will now thank everybody for attending the meeting, DM and also the minister, DG, the DGs, SAT management, CFOs. The meeting is now adjourned. Thank you very much for your participation and attendance.
Recording stopped.
Thank you.
Good night, Chair.
Thank you.
Good night.
Bye.
Bye, Chair. Bye.
Bye-bye. Sis Grace,
Chair.
ukayifumani letter
Ayikafiki, Chair.
ezawulibazisa kwento
U-Antiphetty uthe uzayithumela as soon as. No, I'll speak to Leanne.
no, oh, now no le ratu uyathuma kaye.